one of the questions I get is, do you have any advice? You know, this is going on with mom or dad or an aunt or whatever, and I'm so afraid, you know, I'm concerned how I'm going to handle this. And I will tell you, my first bit of advice is don't stick your head in the sand. You will be a caregiver at some point, or you are going to need care for somebody at some point. And so the very first article that I ever posted was called 4 Tips Before You Become a Caregiver. And I still tell people about this and point to it on the website. And that is, do you know what the person you're going to care for wants for end of life? And that gets into the entire idea of advanced directives. It gets into the entire idea of having those difficult conversations. If you got sick, what would you want me to do and not do? The second thing I tell them is, given the HIPAA laws, can you legally talk to their doctors? Because if you haven't had that conversation and you are not either attending the office visit and they're giving verbal permission while you're with them, or they haven't put in your contact information when they fill out that form once a year, you might be blocked from talking to the doctors. And that's a horrible place to be. So the other thing I would say, the third thing out of the 4 is, do you have durable power of attorney for finances? God forbid somebody goes in the hospital and they can't write out their bills. Can you do it for them? I have to tell you, that is the single most important document I have for my mom because of her eyesight. I use that every day. And when, you know, even when Dad died and we had to turn everything over, everybody wanted that document. And I'll share a story that's in the blog. And that is, my dad and I talked multiple times about the fact that I was going to be his durable power of attorney because physically I was the closest child. Talked about it. He goes into the hospital. I'm not even sure he's going to make it. I pull out the document and he had never signed it. I'm like, oh my God. 3 days in, he's feeling better. His sister and his niece come to visit. I bring that document to the hospital. A friend drives an hour because it needs to be notarized. And in the hospital, everybody signs it. She notarizes it. And then we went right to my mother's house and did the exact same thing. So even though you talk about these documents, make sure they're truly in place. It's critical. And then the 4th thing is, do you know what resources you can tap into, right? And part of that means having a hard conversation about finances, because many of these resources are built based on need. And if you don't meet the requirements, we're talking private pay. So not putting your head in the sand, starting those difficult conversations, maybe it's the drip method because you're not going to get anywhere the first time. Maybe you can talk to a sibling of your loved one or a cousin or a peer of the same age who maybe they'll listen to before they listen to you to get that conversation started. But not putting your head in the sand, realizing these are the 4 things you need to be thinking about or actively working towards, literally before you become a caregiver, is the advice I wish someone had given me prior to.